So when all else fails, there's always arranged marriage, right? But what are these like, and do they work?
I think all marriages are arranged marriages.
To some extent, to some degree.
Let's talk about
it. You're right. Let's get into it. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zahra Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 4 years.
And before we get started, we're going to be introducing a small, tiny little segment into our podcast, which is called Quiz Time. We have, I think this is going to be episode number 74 or 75. So we have been working on this podcast for a year and a half. And I think it would be a good idea to sort of start to apply some of the information that we've been giving to our audience over this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apply pressure.
Apply a little bit, just a little tiny bit of pressure. Just to help with the recall. That way, hopefully when you're out there, when the listener is out there and looking for a spouse.
In the wild.
Or the listener is out there and trying to do conflict resolution with their spouse.
In the wild.
Some of these ideas, it'll be easier for them to come up, right? So I'm going to ask a question each week, so each episode, and then I'll answer it in the subsequent episode. So feel free to write your answers in the comments below, and if you get it right, we'll give you a shout out in the following episode. So this week's question is, I always say when it comes to manipulators that there are two red flags, that there are two indicators of manipulators that are always present. And if either of these is absent, then the person is likely not a manipulator.
Go ahead.
So what are those two indicators?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Let's find out next week.
Or on Thursday. So let's get started with this week's episode, which is entitled, What is an arranged marriage like?
Let's get started.
So we have a question coming in, unsurprisingly, from the Muslim Marriage subreddit, from a young gentleman. And he says, Assalamu alaikum. I'm a 23-year-old male, and my parents want me to get engaged, at the least in the coming 2 years. I've tried, got a lot of asks, and even met to discuss, but I've never been able to even form the slightest connection. I hate the idea of this, and I feel weirded out by this.
Okay.
I've been reading so many stories of how arranged marriage worked out, but to me, I just can't seem to work it out unless it's someone I choose myself because I've known them for so long. My parents don't approve of anyone I choose, and I cannot connect to anyone that they approve of, and frankly, I'm not even sure about the marriage stuff. Alhamdulillah, I have a stable job, good salary, and everything, yet spending a life with just one person scares me, especially in an arranged marriage. What if the person I see for that particular time, and then they turn out to be completely different? I hate that feeling of the unknown. It's fearful to me. It's like, unless I really know someone myself, I can't proceed. Maybe it's just that I've always lived this defined path by my parents of playing it all safe, that I just dislike it because my parents suggested it. Or maybe it really is just my own fear. Can people who have had arranged marriages give me their perspective on it? Jazaa K'Allah Khayr.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this gentleman's question?
I think that if he were to focus up with regards to the concept of the arranged marriage, this brings it back to my earlier comment. He would understand that all marriages are arranged.
Yeah, to some degree.
To all degrees, right?
Yeah.
Because all marriages are arranged by Allah.
Oh, that's true. That is
true.
It's
already written.
It's already written.
It's already written. So why bother? You know? Why bother? What you should do is just be natural, right? You don't necessarily have to form this unbreakable bond with the person before you guys get married.
Yeah.
Some marriages that are very successful were strictly all business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There wasn't even any of the pleasantries like going out for a coffee with the family and talking. They would just bang open the door, walk in, be like, all right, which one am I marrying? They would point at someone in the corner like, all right, let's let's get married tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah.
Here's your mahr. Bam. You know?
Okay, it feels aggressive.
It's very aggressive.
Yeah.
Marriage is war.
Well, who's winning in this marriage?
Usually the woman always wins. Usually.
Alhamdulillah.
Because anytime the guy gets into an argument, and alhamdulillah, this hasn't happened in our marriage,
Yeah.
but anytime the guy and the girl get into an argument with each other,
Yeah.
it seems to always be the guy sleeping on the couch.
You know,
Let me ask you again.
Yeah.
Who's winning?
if you're winning, I'm winning. And if I'm winning, you're winning. So we won.
That's part of the reason why we didn't get a couch.
There you go. But with respect to arranged marriage, it sounds like you're suggesting that the difference between, so for contrast,
I mean, he's suggesting lifelong friends.
yeah, but for contrast, let's call regular marriages, or the marriages in which an individual finds their own spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call those love marriages, because that tends to be the lingo that's understood. And for consistency, an arranged marriage will be a marriage in which an individual's family members, usually their parents, finds for them a spouse.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just the difference is, where did this spouse come from in general? And even within arranged marriages, there tends to be a spectrum of how much communication happens between the two individuals, from a regular amount of communication, like a regular talking stage, all the way up to meet on the day of the marriage, right?
Yeah.
So within that, they tend to fall somewhere within that spectrum. So we have love marriages and arranged marriages. And it sounds like you're suggesting that the difference is in connection, the level of connection between the couple. So that there would be...
The connection, however, is superficial. That's the thing.
Oh.
That's the caveat I need to make, is that the connection is always superficial, regardless of whether it's an arranged marriage or whether it's a love marriage, right?
Yeah.
It's always superficial until you guys actually get married.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Until you guys actually get married, that's when the connection is no longer superficial.
Yeah.
Because you can never dig through the surface,
Yeah.
the veneer
Yeah. Well,
that the person is casting upon themselves.
There's a degree of formality there, especially as Muslims, right?
Yeah.
So even in the love marriage, even in a typical talking stage, there is a degree of formality that's mandated. And that degree of formality might be more, like even more so in an arranged marriage, but it's there. So yeah, you're right. And I do agree with you. However, the reality is that there is some level of connection that happens according to how much contact or communication usually, and this is not for everyone, but just as a general rule, with more history that two people share, the more events, the more any conversations, right, the more conflicts that are solved, the stronger the opportunity for a connection to develop. So just like, even if you think of your colleagues at work, the colleague who's working in the cubicle next to you, who and you've had to do projects with, and you've had to be in close proximity with, is not the same as the one on the other side, like in the other department. So it's by human nature. More contact means deeper connection, right?
If I were to bring up a very crude example,
oh no, that
almost all women would disagree with.
I know that.
And nearly all men would disagree with as well, right? And I'm talking about only like the subject of the example.
Interesting.
Let's say you're in a car dealership.
Okay.
Right? You're in a car lot. And you have, as you were growing up, this image of your dream car.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd spend nights fantasizing about your dream car.
Okay.
You know the make, you know the model, you know all the specs. You're like, I wanted to do this, this, and that. I want it to be like this and this and that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You go to the car dealership and you can't really find that car. Mm-hmm. That car doesn't exist. There is no perfect match, right? However, you find close approximations. You find ones that you're like, you know what? I'm perfectly comfortable with this car. This car actually makes me happy, right? Those, I feel like, are love marriages, right?
Yeah.
Where you'll never get exactly what you're asking for. Everyone has flaws. Everyone has personality differences. Everyone has some level of incompatibility, right? Incompatibility, right?
Yes.
But because you're the one that's choosing, you get to sway the direction, right? They're mostly in your favor of acceptitude, right?
I like that word. It's a good word.
Yeah, it's wonderful. However, the once you actually commit to the car, right? You might then discover some features that might be there that you might not like, some features that might be missing that you wanted, right?
Yes.
And so that might bring trouble to your driving experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Compare that to a when you show up to the dealership and the car salesman is the one that chooses the car for you. He interviews you and he says, what do you like? What do you want? What's your personality? What's this, right?
Yeah.
Usually this is your family. They don't ask you these questions directly. They learn them by osmosis throughout your lifetime.
Know you.
Yeah. And so they are the ones that are going to choose. The car dealership's going to be the one that chooses your car for you. And at the end of the day, it's up to you to say, yes, I actually like this car. This car is perfectly acceptable to me, right? Just as the other car is. Or you can say no, right? Until you find a car that you think you can spend the rest of your life with. In this example, the cars last lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
And the cars actually love you, right?
Oh, so it's like a Toyota.
No, it's like a wife.
Okay.
And so the car, I feel like those are the two differences there.
Yeah.
One, you have an example of what you want, and you go head hunting for that example. Not literally. We don't want you guys to. Anyways.
Okay.
The second is they're presented to you, and you choose the one that you can best mesh with.
Yeah.
With the very limited data set that you have.
Yeah. It's honestly, we could just end the podcast here. That's perfect. That's perfectly put. You touched on a lot of the points that we were going to go through. So we already spoke about the first point where the difference. So once you're married, right, and you're actually in the house, the difference between a love marriage and arranged marriage tends to be the amount of connection that's already present, depending on how much communication you had. The second point that you touched on is that, do you remember how we always say that when you're looking for a spouse, there are 4 things that you need to be paying attention to?
Yes.
That there is compatibility, capacity, character, and connection, right? So we spoke a little bit about connection, that it might be non-existent or limited in an arranged marriage. The aspect that is controlled for is compatibility, which is what you mentioned, because your parents tend to know you very well, right? Or even close family members who find someone, they tend to have a good idea of your personality, what's going on in your life, what are your goals, what are your wishes, like general compatibility, logistical things. So from the 4 characteristics, that tends to be what's controlled for, right?
Yeah.
So, but that leaves the other 2, capacity and character. So these are almost unknown.
Yeah.
Because if we think about it, let's say your parents found Muhammad, right? And they know Muhammad, and he is the son of so-and-so, and they've known him most of his life. They've had his eye on him, and they want to consider Muhammad for marriage for their daughter. They know Muhammad based on what his parents say, and based on the way that he interacts with the community at like an emotional distance. There's an emotional distance there. Whether or not he has the emotional capacity to actually build a marriage is completely unknown. Does that make sense? It's like it's whether or not.
It makes sense.
Yeah, there might be mental health issues. He might have underlying depression, anxiety. That people tend to not know about that, or they dismiss that. He might be emotionally unavailable because of maybe he's getting past the previous relationship. There could be a dozen things that are making it so that maybe he doesn't have the capacity to build that happy, healthy marriage. Therefore, in the time that you do have communication with this Muhammad, and you're talking, it's a good idea to be focusing your assessment on capacity. The other aspect that you're focusing your assessment on is also character, because his character, he's going to have a reputation in the community, but once again, that could be a facade.
Yeah.
right? So that you in slightly more intimate setting of one-on-one, of you speaking to him in order to assess him for the purpose of marriage, that's another area to be focusing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I should say,
Mhm.
he said it was capacity,
Yeah.
character,
Yes.
connectivity,
Connection.
and capability,
Compatibility.
compatibility.
Okay, you're so close.
There you go. Okay, what was the last one there though? The very
That was
last one
four.
was.
That was for
I know there were four, but like, what was the one that you said last?
character, right?
Oh no, it was. I think it was. Hold on. I think it was capability. Right? No,
Capability.
connection, connectivity. That was it. The last one.
It's okay.
Right?
So just so there's no confusion, it's compatibility, capacity, character, and connection. Those are the four.
Okay. You know what we could have done though?
What could we have done?
Honestly, if I were you, I would have said, what was the first one?
Oh no.
So I'm not very good with remembering
That's
things.
okay. That's okay.
What was the first one?
Compatibility.
Compatibility. I would have said compatibility, right? And then character, and then
capacity.
Capacity. And then I would have said ability to connect.
All right.
Just to throw them off.
Just CCCA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
but it would have angered them.
Yeah.
The listeners.
Yeah.
There's a C right there. Why didn't you use that?
For the record, when I was noticing these patterns,
yeah,
the words I chose have nothing to do with the fact that they start with the letter C. It just worked out well, right? It just happened to be that way.
I see. Okay.
But these are the I like that. But these are the four things that you need to pay attention to. So the next question I would be asked is, well, how do I assess for capacity? How do I assess for character? I went into these in some detail in an episode called How to Choose Your Spouse. I will post the link for that episode in the description below, In Shaa Allah. But I would just go through that episode. With respect to compatibility, again, particularly the logistics is going to be controlled for by your parents, but there are other aspects of compatibility you're still going to have to assess that your parents won't know anything about. For instance, all of the things related to values, family planning, just a long list.
Yeah.
And
culture.
Okay, yes. But with respect to those ones, you can get your free copy of my compatibility guide in the description below. That will tell you what are the 7 aspects of compatibility you should assess for and exactly how. So that will be what you need to focus on when you are in a relatively arranged marriage. Please spend time focusing on capacity and character to make sure that this person has the ability to build a healthy marriage. Your parents won't know that. His parents won't know that. But it's your responsibility to try to vet that out as much as you can.
Yeah.
So that is in the search. Now you're married. Now the two people are married and they're in this arranged marriage. How does this arranged marriage look? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And how is it different from a love marriage?
Okay. A love marriage has rose-tinted glasses.
Okay, so day 1, we entered the house. We have rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Rose-tinted glasses tend to make the red flags outstandingly bright. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So bright that you'd rather not look at them because it hurts your eyes.
I think it's the exact opposite, my dear.
So you avert your gaze.
It's the opposite. Rose-tinted glasses make.
And you're like, wow, that person has such strong red flags, but let me look this way.
Okay.
To savor my eyes.
So for the record, the reason why they say rose-tinted glasses is because
I know why. It's because
it's understood.
Yeah, I know, I get it. It's because when you have rose-tinted glasses, everything looks red.
There you go.
So you don't see the red flag.
I'm so glad you understood that.
Yeah.
Because that was a bit of a red flag.
The rose-tinted glasses make the red flag so much more brighter.
Okay.
More vibrant.
So, and practically speaking, the two people are in the house. They've entered the house in this arranged marriage. The ways in which that the marriage will feel different is that, again, because there hasn't been as much of an opportunity to connect, it will feel much more formal.
Yeah.
Much more formal. And the there will be like a little bit more of respecting of each other's boundaries. There will be a little bit more respecting of each other's space than typically happens in a love marriage. Sort of like the way the vibe that I usually tell clients is that it will be akin to doing a group project with a kid that you've never met before.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that level of formality of, okay, let's get this done. You do this on that day. I do this on that day. You do this chore. I do that chore. Is that okay? Do we need like that level of formality? It's just like clinical precision.
Yeah.
So there are pros to this and there are cons to this.
Mm-hmm.
So would this dynamic, would it feel like a good thing or negative thing? Like how would, if we were in that level of arranged marriage?
The formality?
Yeah.
I feel like the formality is a bad thing.
Well, yeah, it would be difficult, right?
Yeah. I mean, rigid. It would feel like a job.
Yeah. Do you think that lasts forever though?
No. I think that breaks down into a love marriage.
Eventually. That tends to be what happens.
Now it becomes more flexible.
Yeah. That tends to be what happens over time.
Yeah.
For majority of
the
couples.
Successful ones.
Yes, exactly. And for the couples that it doesn't happen for, I don't want to give a timeline in case somebody's in an arranged marriage.
3 days.
No, not 3 days. But if the ones who it doesn't happen for, it tends to feel very lonely and very difficult. And these are the points at which people make a decision about how important is connection to them in their marriage, especially in their previous generations. Quite often our parents would make the decision to continue the marriage anyway.
Yeah.
Despite the lack of connection and the lack of emotional intimacy.
Do it for the kids.
Yeah. Right. Just because the way marriage was understood is different back then as compared to the way it's understood now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have historically been people that would stay married only long enough for the kids to go off to university or college.
Yeah.
And the second leave the house, they're like, all right, well, bye-bye.
Yeah. So this is that's the negative. That's the con. That's the con of the arranged marriage. Now there is a pro.
No, it could happen for both.
Yeah, of course. But there is a pro that because things are so formal and so clinical, what people tend to do is that because they don't feel comfortable with being emotionally vulnerable yet with this individual, at least not right at the beginning.
Yeah.
They tend to sort of downplay their core wounds.
Yeah.
And downplay their personal triggers.
Yeah.
So conflicts, especially the conflicts that escalate, tend not to happen.
Yeah.
Or they happen of a lot less frequency. In the same way that if you are doing a group project with a stranger, you're not really going to get into those emotional conflicts because there is that emotional distance there, right? So what tends to happen is that because those conflicts are not really there or they don't escalate, and that even when an issue comes up or a problem comes up that requires solving, everyone just is emotionally sober.
They grin and bear it.
Nobody gets triggered, and so they develop a relatively healthy conflict resolution routine where they sit down and they discuss things through, again, clinically, and they solve problems clinically. So what I tend to see in arranged marriages is that they come in with a robust, a very solid, strong communication, foundations of communication in their relationship. And if there tends to be an issue, the issue is with connection. That's what I've seen, right? Whereas with love marriages, it tends to be opposite, where to some degree the connection is there and the issue is with respect to conflict resolution. Because that emotional vulnerability and emotional intimacy is there, they get triggered by this individual who is so close to them, right? Who's emotionally so close to them. They get triggered, conflicts escalate, and they tend to get heightened before they have a chance to develop those conflict resolution routines.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I have experience of this from my clients, but I also have personal experience from this because my first marriage was an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
So like we said,
The second marriage is a love marriage.
A love marriage. But it was also arranged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Hey.
There you go. See, I'm learning.
She gets me.
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, she gets me.
I do. Alhamdulillah. But just to give some insight in case somebody is going through something like this or is considering to go through something like this, that's how I know what I know, right? That the issue tends to be with respect to connection, not so much with conflict resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And the only conflict that they have difficulty resolving is with respect to connection, ironically. Like if on the very, very rare occasions when I have a couple come see me who are in an arranged marriage, almost 100% of the time, that's their issue. Sometimes we're able to reconcile, sometimes we're not. Again, that depends on how invested each member. If each member is invested and wants this marriage to succeed, then those typically tend to work out just with a little bit of training.
Yeah.
But if one of the members doesn't want it to succeed, just like with my previous marriage, all the communication in the world is going to make it very hard for it to succeed.
Yeah.
So God forbid, if somebody is in that situation, my heart goes out to you. I know how painful it is. I know how deeply lonely it is. You're not alone, right? You're not alone. This is something that happens commonly. We don't really talk about it in our communities, but I can tell you that it happens commonly. My advice to you would be if you've tried having this conversation with your husband or with your wife, to seek professional help. Find a therapist, find a counselor, find a coach to help you understand how to be able to navigate the issue of connection.
Do you think people have trademarked what I'm about to say next?
Probably.
I feel like it has to have been.
Go for it.
Advice for the homies and the honeys.
Okay. No, I've never heard that. I like that.
I have to imagine someone's already got that.
Instead of saying brothers or sisters, we just go homies and honeys?
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure people have already gotten that. Anyways, advice for the homies and the honeys. Right? If it comes to an arranged marriage, if you get the feeling that you're not into marrying that person, I advise you to not go through with it despite any pressure that your family might be pushing upon you. Specifically because it's not going to be fun being married to someone that you're not attracted to. And that's the base layer, that's the foundation of a marriage, right? Whether you're the person that's not attracted to them or they're the person that's not attracted to you, it's a lot more likely that the marriage is going to break apart. Mm-hmm. It's going to fall apart.
Yep.
And so if you think, oh, I'm not attracted to this person, but I'm just going to get married to them and I'm going to try to push through, consider this. The food that you eat that's boring or bland, and alhamdulillah, you get the opportunity to eat that food, but you all know what I'm talking about. There's always going to be food that you don't like eating. For me, it's eggplants.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
That food, if you had to eat that food every single day for the rest of your life and you had no option to marry any other piece of food ever.
Okay.
You want to choose food that you at least like, food that you would be capable of eating every single day for the rest of your life with no opportunity to marry any other food.
Yeah. So you're just, I like what you're saying there because first of all, it's a beautiful analogy. And second of all, you're looking at me that way in order to reassure me that you're not interested in any other food.
Yeah, I mean, a guy's got to eat,
Okay. All right. No, but I could not agree more, right? So everything that we've been talking about is with the assumption that this is someone that you are physically attracted to, right? That's when we are talking about going through with an arranged marriage, it's assumed that you're at least physically attracted to each other, right? And the question is always, how do I know I'm physically attracted? Well, to the enough for you to be able to lower your gaze. That we're Muslims, we're supposed to lower our gaze regardless, but hopefully I think you understand what I mean. That
Yeah.
you won't be looking up now
Yeah.
because you're happy with who you have at home, right? So it's enough to lower your gaze. So it's assumed that you're physically attracted. If you're not physically attracted, the other person will know, you will resent them. It's very hard for it to work out.
Yeah.
So I agree with that wholeheartedly. Bottom line, arranged marriages work out. They do. I've seen them work out many times, plenty of times. The challenges that they face tend to be related to connection. The strengths that they have over loved marriages is the development of wonderful communication systems. To the point that they never come to see me about communication because they're good to go, right? But the issues are related usually just to connection, and those can be solved sometimes. So if your parents are coming to you and saying, "Hello, we have for you Muhammad, or we have here Fatima," would you consider them? And you are generally find them physically attractive, and compatibility is at least baseline. It can work out. It's worth considering, right? So that's hopefully that answers this brother's question. He spoke a lot about the fear of the unknown. What I would tell the brother is that all of it is unknown. Even if you're marrying somebody that you chose, that you've known literally your whole life, I can promise you don't know anything about them. It's all unknown. It's a matter of making the best possible decision for yourself, trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the rest, and then moving forward if marriage is what you want.
They have that saying, don't they?
Which saying?
You've got the known knowns and the known unknowns. You've got the unknown knowns and the unknown unknowns. Sometimes you just got to take part of the ones that you know.
Yeah. You trust. That's what tawakkul is, where you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you trust His judgment.
Worry about what you can control.
Yeah.
Whatever you cannot control, don't even think about it.
Exactly. I think we're just going too far into like slogan territory.
If you don't know, you know.
Okay. Hopefully we've answered this brother's question. Is there anything that we're missing?
No, we did. I think we did amazing. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. I'm waiting for the day when you say, no, that was terrible. I think let's just start over.
That day's going to be very soon.
I feel it. We're about due.
We're so due.
So if you've made it this far in the podcast, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, we really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. It always means a lot. If you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please subscribe. I cannot tell you what it means to us. If you're one of the 311 subscribers that we have so far, every single one of you is appreciated and is an honorary member of our community. And for the others, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot. If you haven't already, don't forget to get your free copy of the compatibility guide in the description below. And finally, if you're thinking that arranged marriage is not for you and you would like to continue looking for somebody or start looking for somebody, like most of us do by using the dating apps, and you would like some guidance on how to use them safely and successfully, sign up for my live webinar entitled Dating App Strategies That Actually Work. There is only going to be one this month on the last Saturday of November. The link is in the description below. So, Jazakallah Khair. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us, and Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.